Now, without further ado, I have Mr. Terry Butler on the phone from Obituary here to talk about his latest endeavor with Inhuman Condition. Terry, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for taking some time out today to talk about this badass album you guys got coming out.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, so Inhuman Condition, it's a kind of a rebirth of just some members of Massacre being one of the first bands that you started in back in the 80s. Tell me a little bit about how you got involved with this project, because Jeremy Kling and Taylor are members of Massacre, but you never actually played with them in the studio or live, did you?
No. A quick story about how this all came about is just kind of rewind like 2 years ago. There was a version of Massacre going, and Rick Ross and Mike, the drummer, were kicked out of the band, basically, and in stepped Jeremy and Taylor, and I think they played a few shows together, and they inquired about writing some new music for Massacre, and I guess they were given the green light to do that. They wrote 14 songs, and then to no one's surprise, everything went pear-shaped pretty quick. I mean, unfortunately for them, but the writing was on the wall with that. Not to get into too much drama with that camp, but it was no surprise to me. Anyhow, so they contacted me about recording some bass on the tracks they did, and I said absolutely. When I heard the songs, I was blown away. The riffs are amazing. It's catchy. It sounds like Leprosy and From Beyond kind of thrown in a blender, and that's amazing music in my opinion.
Right.
And just killer riffs, all kind of amazing riffs, and they did a killer job writing that stuff. And I was like, who would not want to be part of this? It's just amazing to me. But so recorded the bass, and it's just kind of steamrolled since then. We got some record deals and distribution deals throughout the world going, and pre-orders are up now for Europe and for the States and stuff, and it's going very well. We played our first show a few weeks ago with Deicide. That went well. It was very well received. And, it's refreshing, and it's nice to work with Jeremy and Taylor. And we're taking this as far as we can, obviously. We're in it for the long haul, and we think it's some killer music.
Absolutely, man. And it's already, like, I don't want to jinx anything, but I kind of want to congratulate you on the success of the album already, because I mean, if you go to inhumancondition.bandcamp.com, I'm scrolling down the pre-orders, and at the bottom of the page it's sold out. You guys actually had to add new packages and more vinyl, more exclusive pre-order vinyls. Yeah. And I mean, it's going like gangbusters already, plus the video that you guys put out for Tarantula. Dude, it's kicking ass already. So is it a premature congratulations, or is it safe to kind of congratulate you?
No, I don't think it's premature. I mean, it's like I said, there's good pedigree in the band, obviously, with the band members, and the music is great, and everyone can hear the first song, Tarantula. I mean, all the songs on the album are in the vein of that song. So, yeah, I mean, it's exciting to see how quick it's taking off, and it's I think everyone's going to really like the full album when they hear it.
Yeah, dude, it's amazing. Now, Tarantula, you guys put out the video for that. I want to talk about the video because it kind of, as a fan, it's just a badass, kick-ass video. But like when I was prepping for this interview, I was taking note of little things left and right here and there. And the video starts out, I'm not an arachnophobe by any means, but that's what nightmares are made of, the beginning of that video, for people who are afraid of spiders.
Yeah.
It's gross. And it's the perfect intro to a video like that, man.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes a tarantula can look all sweet and innocent and pull you in, then attack and bite you. That's
Yeah,
what happens. But
absolutely.
yeah, but yeah, the video. It's it's kind of, this whole thing. We kind of approached it as on hands totally, as far as even getting distribution around the world ourselves and hooking up with the people that we've met over the years. And we kind of wanted to keep it that way too. And the video, was filmed by Jeremy's wife, Deidre, and she did a great job. And I think it turned out really well.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. I love the layout of the video, how the drum set's kind of in the middle and you guys are all kind of facing away and you're not like interacting with each other. It's very distant of all the members in the band. Yeah, it was a killer concept that they came up with for that, and Jeremy and Taylor and Deidre too. Yeah, it worked out well, and it helped get the music out there. Everyone can see it, and there'll be a few more videos that we're going to drop here over the next weeks. So wonderful. And something that I really enjoyed about the video. Now, Jeremy is taking on double duties, playing drums and doing vocals. Yes. But in the video, instead of doing double duty at the same time, he kind of does the vocals standing up and without a mic, which I kind of appreciated because he kind of reminds me of like when I was a teenager and like pretending to sing to death metal songs in the mirror type thing, and he looks like he's just having a fucking blast and full of angst and vigor and anger. And I really appreciated that he stepped away from the kit to do the vocal parts for the video. Yeah. To me, like if you see a video and it's kind of a stage video where we're on stage and stuff, it makes sense to have a microphone. Sure. But if it's a video where you're out somewhere, it doesn't make sense to have a microphone. It almost looks a little plagiarized. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it worked out well, and we're very happy with it. Now, something else I wanted to ask you about, and this is just kind of, again, going off what I saw in the video, but you've been known to switch up your playing style from fingerstyle to pick. I noticed you were playing a pick version in the video. What did you go pick style for the album, and what made you decide to play pick on this one? Well, to me, over the years, I mean, certain types of songs and certain types of rhythms just sound better and more and tighter with a pick, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're playing death metal or thrash metal, it just, over the years, for me, it just sounds better with a pick, a little tighter, because you're playing really fast. And if I'm playing something like maybe some Obituary stuff or some Black Sabbath stuff, which is a little more open, a little more loose in spots, it sounds a little different. You can get away with that. It adds a little something different to it. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I mean, earlier in my career, I would use fingers all the time, even during Death and Massacre and stuff, and it was fine. But I just, kind of when I got into 6 Feet Under, and I just kind of wanted to lock in a little more with the drums and be a little tighter, I switched over to pick. Well, I think it sounds good. Something else I noticed in the video, Jeremy, like, death metal progressing to what it is today in 2021, drummers are insane these days. A lot of it's triggered. They don't have to put in as much effort beating on the drums, but I just want to say I do not want to be Jeremy's drum set because he is beating the shit out of that thing in the video, dude. Yeah, I mean, to me, drums are a percussionist instrument, right? I mean, you gotta hit on them to make sound. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, obviously, if you hit the thing too hard, it's not going to have a good tone. But you got to smack them things. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Hit them drums, hit them cymbals, let it be heard. And yeah, it's a progression. I mean, the faster music got, like nowadays, all the blast beat guys, sometimes they're playing so fast that they just barely touch the cymbals. Because they got to get back down to that snare super quick. Mm-hmm. And stuff, and kind of you lose a little bit in that, especially live. Soundman's always fighting to get the drums up over the top of some things, but the drummer isn't hitting them hard enough. That's why the bass drums are triggered 99% of the time in all those bands, because then you can, no matter how light you're tapping them drums, that trigger's going to pick it up and you can put it out over the top of the guitars and stuff.
in the mix.
And you can also manipulate the sound a little bit, depending on where you are playing live in a live scenario, you know.
I'm not taking anything away from those type of drummers. It's just I'm old school, and I was raised up on Dave Lombardo and Dan Beeler and these kind of drummers that were power drummers.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave Lombardo is a perfect example.
John Bonham, Cozy Powell, these kind of,
Yeah, and his son. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Well, I love the old school feel, but it is tuned up. Like, I don't want to say it's tuned up to today's standards, because I mean, it's bands and members and musicians like you who have set the standard, and the bar has been raised, but not past your guys' playing ability by any means. But I love the old school sound, and I love the production on this album. Who produced the album, and how was it in the studio for you guys?
It was recorded at Jeremy and Taylor Studios, Smoke and Mirror Studios. Jeremy mixed it, Taylor mastered it. I mean, we all had an input, like, you get dailies. How does this sound? What do you think? Should this be louder or not? But obviously they have a good foundation right off the bat, because, they've recorded some of their own albums and some of the other bands they've been in. So they have a good feel of of what to do. And, I mean, old school to me is just a word. I mean, music is music if it's good or not, I wouldn't expect AC/DC to come out with a new record that sounds like Rush.
Right.
That's not their style. That's not what they do. If it's good, catchy music, then let it be that. Don't try to put a negative label on it. If you're some 18-year-old kid, oh, that's just old school death metal. No, it's killer music. It doesn't matter if it's super fast and technical, or if it's just kind of mid-pace and heavy. Who cares? If it's good, it's good.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And it sucks because being in media, I kind of have to work with subgenres and subgenres, and it's annoying for me, because when I got into death metal, it was still extreme metal. Nobody even knew what to call it yet. When Cannibal Corpse came out with Butchered at Birth, it was like, I don't know, it's madness, dude. That's all I can say. It's just fucking madness.
Exactly.
And
yeah, totally. I remember listening to metal before Metallica were even a band. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
Iron Maiden was like the shit back in '81. That was what 80 or '81. So I've seen the evolution of like when Venom came in and Hellhammer, Set the Cross, Bathory, Possessed, the beginning, Mantis Death, the beginning of death metal.
Mm-hmm.
The seed that was planted. That seed that was planted was from all the bands before that, and just to watch it sprout and grow and take off is, but now there's like 75 different subgenres of subgenres,
It's crazy, dude. Like I understood blackened death metal when that became a thing. Like, it does sound a little black metal. It does sound very death metal, but we're getting into other shit, and it's like, okay, bring it down a notch, especially with like a lot of the core bands. And like you said, not to take away from any of these musicians or their art. It's just a little convoluted at some point. Like, I'm having a hard time keeping up with it, and I think I have my thumb on the on the trigger here. It's like,
oh, I know. You get corrected by people. It's not black metal. It's crusty black metal, or it's
yeah, and I'm like, it sounds like mayhem, man. It's black metal, dude. Sorry.
The Scandinavian death metal is completely different than the Japanese death metal, or the the Polish black metal is different than the Brazilian black metal. It's like, okay, whatever. It's all extreme craziness. So
absolutely. Well, what's cool is, like you said, you guys played your first show with Deicide. Going back to the older days, Deicide was one of the first death metal bands that I got into them, and it's cool to see a lot of you pioneers still doing it, and still doing it correctly, whether you want to put a label on it or not. It's extreme metal. It's still extreme to this day. Nobody is slowing down. What was the crowd and the feel like, especially coming off of such a horrible year for music? What was it like getting back on stage for you?
It was great. In Obituary we did some live streams. We did 5 of them. And those were killer. You know, some of them were full production, lights, everything. Some of them we did kind of like a homemade kind of thing in our studio, where it's intimate, you know, fan interaction thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was killer. But you know, there's no crowd there, so playing in front of the crowd a few weeks ago was great. I've been missing that. Obviously, I've been doing this since 1987, so it's a huge part of my life, obviously. And to be able to do that for a year and a half was definitely weird, but it felt great to get out in front of the crowd and play some music and to watch their reaction, especially it being a new band and them enjoying the new music that they were hearing. It was a great feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I miss going to shows. I mean, 2019, I could barely count how many I went to, and you know, 2020 was just a stalemate. So,
yeah, man, it was a disaster.
Now, as far as Inhuman Condition is concerned, are you guys planning any tours or even some Weekend Warrior stuff? Obviously, you're doing the live stage production. How far are you guys going to take that? I know that you've got a lot on your plate with Obituary, and I'm sure, you know, the Tardy brothers and Perez, you guys are ready to get back out on the road with Obituary stuff. We'll get into what Obituary is doing here in a little bit, but what's Inhuman Condition have planned for you know, live performances?
Well, when we can squeeze them in, we will do that. You know, I got Obituary going, and Jeremy has Venom Inc. and The Absence. Taylor's in The Absence as well. So I'm assuming once the world gets the okay, you can go on tour again now. It's going to be fast and furious for bands booking shows. So when time is allotted and time is allowed, Inhuman Condition will do what we can. Yes, we would definitely do a tour if all the stars lined up and we had an open spot that everyone in the band wasn't busy. And you know, we're definitely up for local shows or up for whatever festivals or whatever. Again, it's if we can squeeze it in there, you know.
Absolutely. Now, this is totally a hypothetical question off the top of my head, but let's say the stars align perfectly. Venom Inc. and Obituary tour together. Is it out of the realm of feasibility that you guys could do an Inhuman Condition like opener for?
Sure.
Would you be interested in that?
Of course, we kind of talked about that, and it would be funny. It'd be killer, you know. Venom Inc., Obituary, and Human Condition tour would be perfect. I mean, you know, half the members are already all together in the same band.
Exactly. Why not? I mean, we're all here. We all got our instruments.
It'd be cool for the fans. It'd be a great tour. Yeah. So, I mean, we're obviously we would be up for something like that for sure. Yeah.
That would be a crazy, exciting tour, man.
Yeah, it would.
That's great. Now, you guys are the album Rat God comes out June 4th on Black Serpent Records. How did you guys end up involved with Black Serpent? And the reason why I ask is because, I mean, there's a lot of big names in the band. Like, you know, we're talking Obituary, Venom, The Absence. So I imagine that you guys could have shopped around for any label that you wanted almost. Why did you go with Black Serpent, and how was the label shopping for the band?
I think the idea was to keep it kind of underground for the first release, kind of do it ourselves, hands-on approach, just to kind of build up a following, you know, instead of kind of getting on a label that's kind of big and then kind of maybe getting lost in the shuffle a little bit, you know. So that was kind of our idea. And Black Serpent, Jeremy and Taylor have worked with them before in the past, so they were very willing to work with us. And we just contacted other people around the world we knew that have distribution companies, and they were totally on board with it. So like we said, you know, for this first release, we're going to do it this way and see how that goes. And, you know, in the future, if something can be worked out with a bigger label, I'm sure we would entertain that idea for sure, yeah.
That's cool. Last week, I had the pleasure of talking with Vincent Crowley from Asheron and Vincent Crowley Band, and he kind of said the same thing, because I was like, dude, you're a known name. Why are we going with the underground label? And he's like, dude, they're willing to invest in this as a project, and not just for today, but maybe future releases. Yeah. Whereas like your Century Medias and your Metal Blade, I love those labels. No dissing here, but the smaller underground labels are going to put their full attention into this release, whereas you, like you said, you might get lost in the shuffle on a bigger label. So it's really cool to see, you know, a lot of you pioneers and legendary musicians going back to the underground where you came from. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, social media, for all of its faults and terrible things that go on with that, it also has a good side, and that is promotion. So we can blast the world through all of our social sites that we're on this label, and we have releases, and here's the link to this, you know, so that definitely helps. So being on an underground smaller label doesn't hurt us as much in that regard as far as promoting, you know.
Right. No, I love it. And it's, you know, you're bringing people up with you as well at the same time. So,
yeah.
You know, and a lot of the fans are ready for something a little more underground. I think, especially, again, after the last year that we had there, we had to dive into more underground shit that people were producing because, you know, a lot of the bigger bands were like Internal Bleeding, for instance, were like, you know, they started doing like a podcast on Facebook. So they were relevant with their fans and they stayed in touch with their fans. But they were like, we're not writing new music, or we're not recording new music, and we're not going to put out anything new until the time is ready that we can go out and promote the album live on stage, because that's how extreme music has always gotten the word, was face to face with the fans live on stage.
Oh, yeah, definitely hands on. Yeah, there's a lot of bands that have records just sitting there. They're not going to release until the floodgates open, so to speak.
Yeah, and you know, big shout out to all the bands that did put stuff out in 2020 and the beginning of 2021.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure,
they were taking a risk, and for us fans, it was nice to have something new. But I love grabbing an album, jamming it a million times, and then go seeing them down the street. You know?
Yeah, sure. Hopefully, we can get back to that here, kind of towards the end of the year. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, earlier you had mentioned the Obituary live streams, and I know Trevor Perez also has Dark Forces Live that he does, which did a live stream for Internal Bleeding, as we were talking about. How was it for the live? I know you touched on it a little bit, but the live streams that had to be totally different. Was it a little difficult to kind of get into the groove of like playing for a crowd that wasn't there?
Yeah, so it's called alcohol.
Cheers to that, my friend.
No, I mean, you know, if a live stream was at 5, you know, we'd start partying at 3:30 or 3 to get into the mood. No, we didn't have to get in the mood so much. Just knowing that we're providing music for our fans, and they're at home in their living room cranking it out, you know, having friends over, like making a party out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. That's great feeling. So, yeah. You know, we were totally into it, obviously, and it's a totally different feel because you're jamming these songs out and giving it your all when no one's standing in front of you. But, you know, going into that, we knew this is what we'd have to do. But unfortunately, because of, you know, COVID-19, that was the only way we could reach to our fans and give them some live music, you know, even though they weren't standing in front of us. But it worked out well. You know, we had package deals, and you could get merchandise exclusive to that certain live stream performance.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great response. You know, we have killer fans, some of the best fans in the world, I believe, and they show us their appreciation all the time, and it's amazing.
Well, it was really interesting, especially for the Obituary camp, because I feel like you guys kind of beta tested the whole live streaming thing. And like, you guys have done videos before. It's not like you're not used to being on stage with just cameras around you, but you know, at least with the video, if you screw up, you're like, take 2 guys, you know, stop, everybody stops, and you can kind of grab a beer and regroup. But you know, it's a live performance with just cameras. So Obituary was literally beta testing this whole idea of how do we get music and live music out to the fans without inviting them over.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you know, you're once it starts, you're on. You know, you can't stop and rewind. So we have to go forward. And but yeah, we were one of the few of the first bands to kind of start doing that. And you know, it served its purpose. But let's hope we don't really have to do that again, unless it's some kind of special thing.
Well, I was going to ask that. Would you guys be interested in doing like a special every once in a great while? Hey guys, how about we jump on stage, do a live stream? You know?
Yeah, we're not opposed to that. If it's a special set where there's, maybe the fans can choose the songs they want to hear. You have a contest or it's just something different. We're not opposed to that.
And it was cool because you guys seem to have fun with it. Like, we're just going to play this album in its entirety this week and this album in its entirety next week. And then the next one, we're just going to play all of our favorite tunes that we love to jam.
Yeah. Well, anyone that knows us or come to our show or had the, been fortunate enough to come backstage or hang out with us or see us out back or whatever, they know that we're down to earth people. We like to have fun. We like to laugh. And we're not uptight, super serious people. We're serious about our art and our work, but we also have fun with it.
Absolutely.
So that's how we approach everything. If you can't have fun with something and smile at it, then it's not going to be fun at all. So. No,
you're totally right. And I've had the pleasure of hanging out with Donald Tardy. We've interviewed live on your tour bus a couple times. And he is such a professional, man. Like he set the bar for me as an interviewer. Like when I first spoke with Donald Tardy, I was like, I need to step my game up and be more of a professional, because it's not like I got the feeling that I was wasting his time, but I got the feeling that his time was important because he was meeting with fans. The last interview he did, he's like, I don't mean to pressure you, but I kind of want to see this band coming up. So and I was like, dude, I totally get. So he's supporting music, and you and I met in passing. It was brief. We shook hands, and it's just hanging out, having a good time, prepping for the show. You guys are all very nice people. So
yeah, we all have our routines the day of a show, So, yeah, we just like to have fun at what we do, and I think that reflects in our music too, and our fans are amazing, and they totally support us, which is awesome.
Right on. Now, I have another hypothetical for you. Don't hate me for this, right. But this is a fun one that I'm dying to ask you, because I've spoken with many of your fans, whether it be Obituary, 6 Feet Under, whatever. I've spoken with many Terry Butler fans, if you will, and also my peers and colleagues in the media industry here. They all boast about how you are the nicest guy in extreme music. Oh, Terry Butler is just the nicest. You'll never meet a nicer person. So my hypothetical question here, or more of a personal question, is what is it that will piss Terry Butler off? And please don't say idiot media people asking me stupid hypothetical questions. What's your pet peeve? What's one of those things that will turn that smile on your face upside down, man?
When the goalie on my hockey team gives up a soft goal, or when my football team loses.
How many TVs have you broken watching sports, my friend?
Well, I mean, that's, I'm pretty even keeled. I mean, there's, every now and then it's just natural you're going to get hot about something, but just try and stay calm about everything, and you'll find a solution to the problem, basically. But
I had to ask because I'm serious. Everybody that, whenever your name comes up, oh, nicest guy on earth, man, you'll never meet a nicer person.
Well, another thing that really will send me over the top is when I see people put ketchup on a hot dog.
Dude, I am with you on that one. My girlfriend will put gallons of ketchup on a hot dog, and I'm like, you're a child. Are you big into hot dogs? Because hot dogs are one of my favorite foods, man. And I love a good Chicago dog. I love a good New York dog.
That's funny.
That's good times, man. Thank you. Well, I know that you're a busy person. I'm not going to keep you all day. Inhuman Condition, Rat God, out on Black Serpent Records, June 4th. The pre-order is up at inhumancondition.bandcamp.com. Is there anything else that you'd like to promote or say for any of the listeners?
Just, thanks for all the support over the years. Hopefully, we can get out and start playing some shows soon. So, everyone cross your fingers that towards the end of the year we can do that. And thanks for all the support. And be on the lookout for Inhuman Condition.
Awesome, man. Thank you. It's funny. You just lit up the chat room. Blasphemy. Ketchup on a hot dog. Mr. Terry Butler, thank you so much for taking time out, man. If you ever have anything else that you want to promote, please hit me up. I'd love to have you back on air sometime soon.
Okay. Thank you.
You have a great day.